Good morning. I am Dr. Lindsay Nelson, bringing you the fifth installment of Wellness Wednesday. Today, I'm going to be talking about gut health. If you attended my previous lectures, you know how important your GI or your gastrointestinal system or your gut is for your immune system. Your GI is about 30 feet long, so you can imagine within 30 feet, a lot can go wrong. Symptoms can be very generalized: gas, bloating, inconsistent stools, feeling like food just sits there. These are what I'll call functional GI symptoms, right? They aren't going to be something that warrants a referral to a gastroenterologist for a colonoscopy or a stool analysis or a stool sample for E. coli or Giardia. These are symptoms that are going to affect the quality of your life. They are going to, you're going to worry about where's the next bathroom. You're going to worry about the foods that you eat when you go out to eat, that type of stuff. But they're not going to lead to serious consequences, or serious consequences will probably not result from them. And so when a patient comes to see me with some of these functional symptoms, I get very in-depth. I ask some very personal questions that can be uncomfortable, but they are important because they show me what the root cause of disease is. So I'm going to ask them, do you get heartburn? What's the timing of it? Is there an association with food? Does it feel burning, or is it an uncomfortable? Is there a cough? What do your stools look like? What's the consistency? What's the color? Is there mucus? Is there undigested food? What time of the day do you go? How many times a day? Do you get gas? Is there an odor? Do you get bloating? What part of your belly is there bloating? Is it low? Is it up high? That type of stuff. Because these are all clues to what can be going on at a deeper level. What's the root cause of these symptoms? So when I'm asking patients, I'm looking for maldigestion, which includes digestion and absorption. What do their digestive enzymes look like? What's their pH? How are their food choices, their nutrition affecting their GI? A heavy meat eater is going to look much different than a vegetarian. Is there evidence of leaky gut? Inflammation, so maldigestion, then inflammation. Is there hidden food allergies, food intolerances? Does this person possibly have SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth? Again, leaky gut. Is there dysbiosis? So your microbiome, is there any deficiencies or excess? And then is there actually infection? Is there bacteria that should not be growing there, yeast, parasites, that type of stuff? I generally, sometimes I will treat patients just based on symptoms, and we'll try out some, changes in their diet and maybe some supplements and see how they feel. Other times I'm going to recommend some testing to kind of get to what could be causing those functional symptoms. The first test might be a food intolerance or allergy test. Not all companies are created equal that do this type of testing, but basically we're mixing the antigen of one food and counting how many antibodies you produce towards that food. And so we have different types of antibodies that we look at. And IgE is an immediate hypersensitivity reaction, right? This person's going to eat the food and maybe their lips swell, their throat closes up, they're at risk for anaphylaxis, maybe they vomit. That's going to be an immediate reaction. And IgA is a reaction that is kept mostly in the mucosal membrane. So this person might eat a food and they get an itchy throat, but it doesn't lead any farther than that. Or they have some GI upset, right? They have some like bloating and gas and pain or something like that. And then lastly is the IgG, which I find most patients, by the time they come to see me, they know if they can't eat peanuts because they'll go on anaphylaxis. They're coming to see me because they're having, they think they're having some reactions to food, but they can't pinpoint it. And that's because an IgG reaction is a delayed reaction. So it can be, 10 minutes after you eat, 2 hours, 24 hours after you eat that food. And so that makes it really difficult if, 10 p.m. at night, you're finally having some gas and bloating and discomfort to associate it with what you ate for breakfast. The other thing about the IgG response is that it goes systemic. And so you might not even have food or GI symptoms. You might not have gas, bloating, diarrhea. You might actually be someone who suffers from fatigue or frequent headaches or rashes. Anytime a person comes to see me for eczema or psoriasis, I'm going to look for any hidden food intolerances or food allergies. So that's the food panel that I do quite frequently. Gives a lot of great information. There's a lot of interpretation that needs to go into effect with that as well. But then the next one will be a stool analysis. That is my absolute favorite. It's a comprehensive stool analysis. It looks for inflammatory markers like calciprectin, which is going to help me differentiate between irritable bowel disease and irritable bowel syndrome. It's going to look for allergy-driven inflammation with such as EPX. It's going to look at digestive enzymes. It's going to look at like secretory IgA, which looks at like the immune system in your gut, which would help me lead towards, is this person someone who might have leaky gut syndrome? I did a live webinar today. Leaky gut came up a lot. Leaky gut is an explanation of the mucosal membrane has been denuded, eroded, and you're reacting to more foods and you're having a lot of symptoms. But the reason we have leaky gut, there's another layer. So we need to look for your microbiome. What does your microbiome look like? Are there hidden food intolerances, allergies? Is there bacteria in parts of the body that, that should be in the large intestine that are now in the small intestine? So the stool analysis is great because it maps the microbiome. It looks for a lot of these markers that help differentiate leaky gut versus small intestinal bacterial overgrowth versus allergic driven inflammation, that type of stuff. The gold standard for detecting SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, is a biopsy. I don't ever recommend that. It's a little too invasive. The breath test would be the next one. I do find the breath test has a high failure rate. It's difficult. You ingest something that makes the bacteria react, and then you breathe those gases into a bag and those get analyzed. I find it difficult for patients to do that. So sometimes I just get enough information from the stool analysis to correlate that this person probably has a strong likelihood to have SIBO. Many companies offer comprehensive stool analysis. I generally only go with the ones that will also map your microbiome because your good bacteria is so important. I have found over the years, many people aren't colonizing one of their good bacteria, or they're colonizing one, but it's in a deficiency and not balanced with the rest. You have about 100 trillion good bacteria in your gut. It's the lactobacillus species, it's the bifidobacteria species, the bacillus, and the streptococcus. And these may predominate in certain areas of the GI, the stomach versus small intestine versus the large intestine versus the oral mucosa. And depending on the bacteria and depending on the location, their roles may be differently. But we do know that your bacteria, sorry, this is my third lecture now, is good for maintaining your intestinal wall integrity. It aids in digestion, right? Lactobacillus helps with breaking down milk, lactose. It helps prevention of yeast and bacterial overgrowth. It helps produce your brain neurotransmitters. GABA, kind of our anti-anxiety, serotonin, our happy brain neurotransmitter, and dopamine, kind of our help prevent mood swings. I'm generalizing those, but your bacteria in your gut help production of those neurotransmitters. It helps improve your immune system by producing powerful antioxidants like superoxide dismutase and glutathione. GALT, which is part of your immune system, is made in the gut, increases absorption of minerals such as calcium, magnesium, zinc, iron. It helps synthesize B vitamins, vitamin K. It helps decrease the production of stress hormones. I talked about my immune lectures that your GI health is important for not only building your immune system and decreasing inflammation, but it also now takes some of those stress hormones and decreases them. It provides fuel for the GI cells. It helps maintain a healthy weight. So you can see that your microbiome is not just about digestion and the bacteria in your gut, but it also influences your mood, your sleep, your stress, your weight, your pain perception, much more. And so to sum up, there are a lot of functional GI disorders and that they can affect the quality of life. And just because you might have been told that they don't, there's nothing serious, you're just gonna have to live with it, take some Tums, take a probiotic, and yet you don't see any difference, you don't see any positive results, that doesn't mean that this is how you have to live. There are more tests that can be done, more specific testing, and there are a lot in the kind of naturopathic arsenal that can help you improve your functional GI symptoms. If you have any questions, please email me, Dr. Lindsay S. Nelson at gmail.com, DrLindseySNelson@gmail.com. Check out my website, drlindseysnelson.com. Email me questions. I'm happy to answer them. I am doing telemedicine. If you want to set up an appointment, I had quite a few people ask me that today after my first lecture. They also ask me quite frequently, can they get this testing done at home? Yes, you can. The stool analysis is something that you would do at home over a 3-day period. That can be drop shipped to you. You also can do now the food intolerance allergy test at home. They offer a finger prick version during this pandemic that's become available. As long as you feel comfortable pricking your finger, then that is another thing that can be done. Please contact me if you're interested in doing any of those. Otherwise, stay happy and healthy and safe. Next week, I'm not sure what the lecture is going to be. I'm thinking about the brain-gut connection, but I don't know. If you have any suggestions, please email me. Also, tonight at 4 is my happy healthy happy hour. I don't know. Healthy happy hour with Ronnie at 4. The link is on the MacBook Facebook page. And he's going to be making a drink with some immune healthy ingredients. And then I'm going to talk about your immune system and how those ingredients help your immune system. I think that's it. Anyways, everyone take care of themselves. Till next week.